Good morning. Welcome back to the first segment on Nationalism and You. And we are on that your flagship program this morning on ITV. We certainly know ITV is the best. This morning we'll be taking a look at the 2023 election. Is it going to be election of deep pockets or election of ideas? Taking into the consideration the deluge of challenges that are facing the country, from the security challenges paramountly and every other challenges that we are passing through. What should we be looking at? What should be our focus? Just yesterday, Major General Buba Marwa declared that he will be writing letters to all the political parties in Nigeria that political aspirants, politicians who subject themselves to tests of narcotic drugs usages. With me to take a look at this morning is no other than a man who also qualifies as an elder statesman, a retired Major General, Major General Henry Ayo-Ola. Sir, you are welcome to our studio, and in the characteristic of this program, Nationalism and You.
It is my duty and responsibility to build my country, Nigeria.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You can see the interest has been so voluminous. Deluge of presidential aspirants. And when you take a look at it also, the cost of running for offices in Nigeria as tabulated by those political parties, 100 million for president, and down the line that way, and that kind of a thing. If we compare this cost with what is obtainable in the advanced country, even United States, that is parading a GDP of over $23 trillion, they don't have that kind of a cost for obtaining form or nominations form for their presidential destiny. Should our election be that of a deep pocket or of ideas, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. Well, I think you started it on the very sound note when you said that our politics should be based on deep pockets or great ideas. And I think that's a good place to start, because there are many ways to look at it. Yeah, our politics should be about great ideas and great dealing with issues, which we have not started seeing yet. So far, it's been a matter of, I want to be this, I want to be that. What they are even coming to do, or looking at the state of the nation and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do concerning economy, this is what I'm going to do concerning security, which is all staring us in the face, or this is what I'm going to do concerning corruption. Three main issues that this government actually came into power with. Nobody is talking about those things yet, but a few, well, let me not say nobody, a few people are. But talking about deep pocket, and of course, you can look at it in terms of the value of our naira today. Mm-hmm. I mean, in fairness to the parties now. Mm-hmm. That so the 100 million naira we're talking about is just about $200,000.
Then I will quickly tell you that dollars remain dollars. In United States, $5,000 is what it calls a presidential aspirant. Why should our own be up to $200,000 comparatively? 23 trillion GDP economy versus 446 billion GDP economy. Isn't that outrageous?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's why I said there are many sides to it. Okay. I'm just taking the first side.
All right.
Like I say, in fairness to the parties or to the politicians. Yeah, so if you are comparing, so that we don't get into the problem of comparing apples with oranges. The standard of living in America and the mentality of the average person in America, these things are also different. I'm not saying that 100 million is not outrageous, but I'm saying I'm trying to give some thinking to how they arrived at that decision.
Okay.
But on the flip side, the flip side, like you have taken, is to say, well, if we look at the reality of the access to funds of would-be candidates, then we should be asking so many other questions. How are they supposed to get this kind of money? So if an innocent, hardworking, potential leader who had not had access to funds, large, unfettered access, let me put it that way, to large funds, is inspiring or is, willing and aspiring to become a leader, he certainly is locked out of that group, So these are the some of the sides that we have to look at. Before now, the fact that our politics have been too much based on money, too capital intensive, has been an idea we've been nursing and trying to see how can we make it less. So for me, the first place where we quarrel with the party is like they are now legitimizing something that ought not to even be accepted as a norm. They are now making it a norm by raising it to that kind of amount. I mean, they also should be part of the search to find solution to how we can make money less important in our political dealings.
So, taking that into consideration, you almost have answered this, but let us also take it deeper, the depravity angle of it. A councillor, a local government chairman, a governor, all of these positions with the humongous monies attached to their nominations forms and things of that nature. Isn't this a depravity of those who are qualified but have no access to deep pocket?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, just maybe to expand further on that. Again, saying that money has become too much a factor in our politics. And then making it this way also, it goes to further buttress the point that it becomes a business for the politicians. Because if you're going to put in this much in just expressing interest, you have not even become a candidate yet, just expressing interest and aspiration to become. And then you look at the whole gamut of the process, how much you'll be spending. Of course, at the end of the day, what will you expect? It will be unfair, even for us as people, to expect that such politicians, when they get to office, will not want to recoup this investment. Because in this case, we've had the politicians who have to sell houses, politicians who have to even take loan in order to vie for one opponent or the other. So what do you expect when they get to such an office? The first goal will be how to recoup that investment, of course, with profit margin, of course. I mean, nobody does an investment and wants to just go home with his original capital. So it further has driven us to that extreme where it's making the most lucrative business in our part of the world to be politics. And I saw one quote somewhere, I think it was on WhatsApp, where he said, in any nation where it's easier to become rich through politics than to become rich through industrialization, that nation will never get up. Yeah, because if it becomes that obvious that the easiest way of making money is get some money, get yourself into a political office, you will recoup that money and much more, then of course people will leave pure businesses and industrialization and other things to go into politics. And that again puts a question on the ulterior motive of those who are going into politics. Because it really appears that it's been proven over time that, this is one place where you can't lose your investment. So it's an attractive investment area. That's what it has become. And that's not good for us.
Many people are strongly of the opinion that the reasons why there is so much violence tracing our elections, and just only 2 days ago, a political assassination has taken place in Bayelsa State. The APC state leader there and the rest of it had just been assassinated. Many people are of the strong opinion that the role money is playing, the monetizations of the electoral system, is fueling a spirit of do or die and the survival of the fittest. Your take on this?
Yeah, you just reminded me of our literary icon, Chinua Achebe, where he talked about spurious patriotism. You know, he questions the issue of politicians in this part of the world actually going into leadership for the sake of service, or for the lure and the inducement and the enticement of these gains, these obvious monetary gains and material gains. You know, he puts that question. And then he talked about the spurious patriotism because, of course, to let the ghost of their, insincerity in it, they talk of patriotism to make it look like, oh, it's patriotism or the love for the nation that is driving them. Whereas, of course, it's like hiding behind the finger. You know that this thing is so enticing, so attractive. For example, there was one video I also saw, where one joker was talking about receiving some revelation to become the next president. And he could barely express himself, and you could see he was reading even the things he had to say. So for a nation to come to a point when every Harry thinks they can be president, not even starting at a level where it's commensurate to either your gifting, your training, your exposure, your preparation, your experience. Everybody just thinks he wants to be there. And it's because of this enticement. It's because of these obvious gains. They've seen those who have been there, who they knew their levels before getting there. And they have come out stupendously rich with, untraceable, resources and all of that at their name. So it becomes very attractive for people to know, this is a faster way of making it. So we need to disabuse that. We need to do all within us as a people, as a nation, to debunk that ideology itself.
Now, as a retired military general, I will put this to you, who is also versed on security issues. Many people have traced the security challenges we are contending with to what they termed as democratic licentiousness, that is, taking democracy for granted. All things can go in the name of democracy. And they said the festering nature of it also is as a result of gross democratic abuses. Would you allude to this?
Yeah, you said it all. Again, there may be other factors, but maybe majorly we can say that. Now, we look at it this way, because politics throws open the door to everybody. I mean, those who say that looking at it vis-a-vis the military era, because there is a rank you get to under the military era where before you can be anything. In the military, everything is tied to the rank. Okay. You can't have a case where somebody who has not had the requisite exposures and training just suddenly become a leader at a level that is not commensurate to his age, level, training, and exposure. But you have that in politics. Anybody can come from any level. If the minimum qualification to be a president is school cert, that is even a joke. Because if the minimum qualification to be a director in the civil service is to be a graduate, then what is the premise of making the minimum qualification to be a president of the whole nation in school cert? There is so much inconsistency in our thinking. Because you can't be a director in any of the public service unless you are a graduate. So how did we arrive then at putting the minimum qualification for presidency for a school cert? Obviously, some people who were thinking about that must be thinking, maybe they had some people in mind. You can see the inconsistency. So when you have a system like that, you are killing competence, you are killing excellence, you are killing peak performance and productivity. You are saying all of those things don't matter. Just do anything to get there. That's what you are saying. Okay, so in that case, you have anybody can be, trump up anywhere and wish to become, and some have ended up becoming. So for me, I look at a nation where I'm a person of systems. I always talk about systems. There should be job specification for every job. There should be job requirements, even for public jobs, so that you don't have somebody, being given a post that is far above what is prepared to take. That's why you have all of this discontentment and all of this disjointment in the system, where you find somebody sitting in an office and he's sitting over people who they are head and shoulder above him, and he has to lead them. Yeah, sometimes you find either there's no confidence to do so because he himself is conscious of his inadequacies to give the leadership in that setting. It's either that he becomes unduly bossy, wants to prove that he can do it, when it's obvious that he doesn't have what it takes, because we have created such a system. Let's take the example of the Chinese system. You cannot, in fact, the Chinese brag in their own system the fact that you could not even have such a good thing like you had in America, where an Obama can come and become president from just being House of Reps and then senator, and then he became president. In their system, you rise from the bottom to the top. You must be proven at every level. So you will have led at the provincial level, you will have led at certain lower level at the national before you be thinking of. And your performances will have been tested and proven. So it's not a matter of some chance card.
You systematically become a part of the governing instrument.
So there is a middling system, a process of producing leadership, so that there is no accident of leadership in their setting. There can't be such an accident. Because the accident, it would have been uncovered along the line where you were being grown, where you were growing up through the system. That, again, our parties have not helped matters to have a kind of institutionalized upbringing of people through the party system. The parties have been hurriedly put together. They are just like election winning machines, and most people choose their parties based on, is it a platform that can give me the win or not? You can't even talk of the ideologies of the party. You can't talk of what each party stands from that makes it different from the other. All of these are problems we need to solve. But we are just sweeping them under the carpet, and people just want to take offices, and that's all they care about.
So, in your opinion, how would you advise that we tamed this focus on how much money people have that quickly throw the doors of offices open to them? How do we tame it so that we can have a rule of ideas? For example, the Chinese example you gave, it is a rule of ideas that take prevalence and the rest of it. So how do we recultivate and reculture ourselves to embrace the rule of ideas instead of rule of money bags?
Thank you very much. Well, I'm sure you recall that I'm the national chairman of Restructure Actualization Movement.
Yes, I know.
Which we have advocated again and again, that the system we have, or what I call the near zero system we have, because we really don't have a system, what you could call a system. It's a default system, not a deliberately designed system. And we have allowed it to go on like that, because of course it suits most of the people, most of the players, in the political arena. And that's the problem of really the elite class and the political elite in particular, where we really love it so. We love it so because it makes room for maneuvering, makes room for manipulation, and makes it easy for anybody to become anything, either it's prepared or trained or educated for it or not. But we need a pause. That's why we've been talking about restructuring. In restructuring, we need to start even the restructuring of our minds, our hearts and minds. How do we see power? Do we see power as an opportunity to serve the people? What system do we want to run? Do we want a system that is functional, a system that has policies, strategies, procedures, processes, checklists, routines, and drills for doing everything? That's how they are deliberately crafted. And over time, fine-tuned, developed, and as you see one loophole or the other, you block it. That's how most of these advanced countries got to where they are. They are not. It's not because they are smarter than others. It's just because their elite class are willingly accepted to run a system rather than anything goes, kind of thing. Okay, so we need that restructuring, starting with our mind. Then we then need to restructure the system itself, all the structures, the institutions. Make the institutions strong. So that, starting even with the political institutions, the parties themselves, they're supposed to be institutions with ideologies, with cultures, with what ethics, with associated and peculiar dealings that, for which they stand, and values and core values that they are known for. And so if you take America, for example, if you say you're a Democrat, we can take for granted that, this is your stand about certain things. Knowing what Democrats stand for about, say, abortion, for example, or say the workplace, or say, conservatism or not, So these things are known by mere saying, once you say you're a Republican, we know then that it means you stand for certain things. But we don't have that here. So, and we are hoping that we will get to that level of, not just political maturity, but civility, and even level of civilization. If we don't pause and stand aside and look at what we are doing and ask ourselves very sincere, honest questions, where are we going with this? What makes the difference between nations is really not their geography, their culture, or the fate of their forefathers, or their geostrategic location. No, it is the system created. I give you an example. There is a book called Why Nations Fail by Achimoglu and Robinson. They did a good analysis, and then used the example of the Nohalis. Nohalis are both in Arizona in America and the northwestern part of Mexico, in the Sonora state. Same people, same culture, same language, same heritage, same everything. But the difference is that those on the U.S. side are enjoying the benefits of being part of U.S. because of the system that the U.S. runs. Whereas those in Mexico are enjoying a lower lifestyle based on the system that is run. And systems are created by human beings. God gave human beings the brain, the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to craft a system that is self-subsisting and that is sustainable and that will be for the betterment of the common good. Okay? If we don't do that, if we don't pause to do that, we will be in this vicious cycle and vicious spiral rather than being the virtuous spiral, which is being described from that book. Until the kingdom comes. So we need to speak some truth to ourselves. And look, notwithstanding those who are benefiting in this system as it is, it was Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of America, who said, justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Until all of us come to the point, even though you are benefiting from the system, you are not a victim, but those who are victims and those who are villains and those who are beneficiaries, you come to a point and say, look, let's settle for something that is good for everybody. If we don't get there, then we'll just be in this vicious cycle.
In your opinion, you think this system is deliberately created with all of these discordances in it so that some people can be exploiting it?
Yeah, that's obvious. There is a general saying that says that your refusal to decide is also a decision not to. And so, if we know this is what we need, and we don't deliberately and consciously take steps to do it, then we have chosen the other way. It's like when they say, he who fails to plan has planned to fail. It's the same. So, there are no vacuums in life. Nature abhors vacuum. Nature abhors stagnancy. If you don't take the step and the path of progress, it means you have chosen the path of retrogression. It's simple. It's a binary issue when it comes to that.
Well, we are still on Nationalism and You, and we are still having in this studio Major General Henry Ayola. We are taking a look at the 2023 election. Should it be of a deep pocket or of ideas? Taking into consideration our numerous challenges that are calling for serious and drastic attentions. Don't change the channel. We are proceeding on adverts. We will be back soon.
Independent television is live 24 hours on GoTV Channel 107, StarTimes Channel 130 and TSTV Channel 364. And you can watch from any part of the world on Roku TV, Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV and Android TV. For your favorite programs, news, current affairs and lots more. You don't want to miss our objective and balanced reportage, entertainment and sports. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Watch ITV via live streaming on the internet. Also remember to visit your mobile app store and download the ITV app so you can watch on the go. For advert placement and commercials, please call the following numbers: 0805-563-8573, 0803-775-5024, 0708-365-2474, and independent television, certainly the best.
Don't just wake up your child. Wake up the champion in them. Give them energy to help them win every day with Milo at breakfast. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child. Milo!
You are welcome back, still on Nationalism and You, and we still having our guest in the house, Major General Henry Ayo Ola, and we're still looking at the same issues: politics of the pocket or of ideas. Now that it appears that the political parties are failing us in what they are prioritizing, what do we do as citizens? What do we expect the media to do? What are those rules that we can apportion to ourselves in order to shift the grains from the shafts? Now that we are having the deluge of the politicians coming again to contest and seek our votes.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's a whole lot to talk about there. We can start with the challenges that the nation is facing. We can bring those out as issues, individual issues, and get them to tell us what they intend to do about those. Then we can then go back. I'll take them one by one. Then go back to looking at in each of them as to what are the leadership qualities, attributes, requirements that we expect to see in the people we want to lead us, so that the citizens themselves can focus, rather than focusing on who's going to give them money on the election day. They are looking. You want to look at. I lead a body called Initiative for People's Rebirth. Initiative for People's Rebirth, and last election we came out with what we call 4 pillars of leadership, for which the electorates can use to, evaluate and assess the person you want to vote for. 4 C's they are. The first C is character. Character. Of course, we know that character is about the most important quality of a leader, because all other things rest on it. Okay, character. I mean, so much has been said about character that if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, all is lost.
So they say.
Yeah, I mean, that's a quote that was in Newsweek magazine on 24th August 1987. It was John Maxwell who really brought it to the fore in one of his leadership books. That's that, because, we see the issue of integrity and all of that come to play. And it's also in line with our own constitution. It talks about national ethics, right? And the first thing there is discipline. The second is integrity. Okay, so it goes with that. Then number 2 is the issue of competence. Competence. You're not supposed to be coming to the national stage to come and show that you are competent for the first time. We should be wanting to vote for you because you are proving your competency in some other endeavors before now. So there's a track record, there's a pedigree of performance, or peak performance, or productivity. And that's what is endearing us to you. Endearing you to us. We want to see that competence already proven. We can't use our national stage as experiment to be testing who has competence. Yeah. That's number 2. Of course, competence is very key. It covers
character and competence. Yeah. Number 3?
Number 3 is what we call it connection. Connection. Now, it's not the Nigerian sense of connection. Connection is the genuine link to the people. Okay. Do you really love these people? Do you really care? Are you touched about the predicament of the people? You want to come and lead? Are you sensitive to their needs? Or you just want to come and lord it over them? Because we've had more of rulers than leaders, you know. So that connection means, are you genuinely linked to the people? Are you concerned about them? The applies, are they getting your attention? Are you coming because you want to make their lives better, or you want to expand your own tentacles? So connection. Number 4 is, we call it a consequence. It's just a word to, you know, to feed the 4 C's. But consequence here, we are talking about legacies. Legacy. What legacy are you thinking of bequeathing to the next generation? Are you somebody that cares about legacy? Or are you somebody who you don't mind finishing with the stage, and after you everything crumbles? Because like, again, John Maxwell will say the true test of success is succession. If after you leave an office, the success you claim to have achieved becomes a failure, if nobody is there to fill the gap, or if subsequently after you left everything crumbles. Oftentimes we prize so much about experience of what? Experience of a system that has not worked. Experience is like an architect telling you he has a 40 years experience, he has designed and built 40 houses, and all the 40 houses are collapsed. Of what value is that experience? So when people flaunt experience here and there, I laugh. I say, experience in this same system, how did we get here? If that experience is so valuable, how did we get to where we are now? And you are the same people who led us to here. And then you are telling us about the experience. You know, so these 4 qualities, that's the intent of the leaders. Now let me come back to the issues now. The state of the nation itself should have prompted these politicians to think deep. That we're not just looking for any leader. We are looking for a situational leader at this time who can deal with the array of challenges that we have. A transformational leader, not a transactional leader. But most of the people I see in the arena right now are transactional leaders who have simply used the opportunity of office to make themselves what they are now, and to keep themselves always having the access. That's what we see, you know, a whole lot. Okay, so that's one. So if we take, let's start from security. We should be asking them, what do you have? How do you solve the security challenges we are saving right now? We should be asking them, what do you have to do differently?
Okay.
Because if we are saying we've deployed everything we have as a nation, and we're still in this mess that we are in, so, and you say you want to come and lead us under this setting, so what are you bringing on board to solve the security challenges? That's one. Economy. I mean, the nation, talking of the state of the nation, is an all-time low, all-round low. So what are you going to do to cause a GDP growth in a short time, maybe in 10 years, or in the course of your own tenure, assuming you're going to have 8 years or something? Okay, we should be asking them, what is wrong? What have you identified as the problems? And what are your profiled and recommended solutions? We should be asking them. Then, of course, we come to the issue of corruption. I'm taking these 3 first, but these are the 3 plans on which the current government came in 2015. Now, so how well have we done in fighting corruption? For me, I don't see corruption as a problem. I don't see corruption as a cause of anything. In fact, for me, corruption is an effect of a near zero system that we run. If we design a system, a functional, effective system, there'll be no room for corruption. You won't need to tell anybody that don't even go there. But because we have allowed a laissez-faire, system like this, that's why it's so easy to steal, to do anything that we do now. So it is lack of system. It is lack of functional system that is the actual cause. So corruption is just one of the effects. That's my understanding. Okay. So, but we should be asking them, what do they have? I've listened to Dr. Baba Dati Ahmed, the provost of Bayes University. Fantastic analysis he did in one of his outings of the causes of corruption in Nigeria. The government actually they came to fight corruption. I've never even done such an analysis. They've never even come out to tell us these are the identifiable causes of corruption and this is what we want to do about it. It was just a statement they're going to fight corruption. How? What are the loopholes? What have you identified? How are you blocking them? So we should be asking these leaders. So they too don't come later and just come and tell us one flimsy statement of we are going to fight corruption. By doing what? Okay? So that's that. Then of course, the issue of one of the major challenges the nation has faced now is the national question. The issue of nationhood. Are we a nation? Or a multinational country? A country of multinational entities? that are yet to have a cohesive, I've spoken about this 1,001 times, that we must identify a set of shared core values that will unite us, that will be the rallying point. Because with our different cultures, religions, and all of that, if we don't identify that set that we all agree on, that the man in Sokoto can, is willing to defend, the man in Calabar, the man in Lagos, the man in Port Harcourt, the man in Yola, that set of shared core values that we can say, yeah, we all agree on this, we all believe in this, we are willing to safeguard this. In fact, we are willing to go to war to safeguard these values. That becomes the foundation for the nation. Okay, a good example is America. If you look at the Declaration of Independence, 1776, that was essentially a declaration of principles, a declaration of the set of shared core values that makes the nation. America is a multinational nation. Okay, but they started with that foundation. Yeah, it was 11 years after that, before the Constitution even came up. But that became the foundation, and that's what Martin Luther King Jr. was referring to when he said, "Have a dream that one day my country will live up to its creed." Because in the paragraph 2 of that document, it says that this truth we hold to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and part of these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the base. That's the foundation. That's why you find American leaders, they come out with their families.
Running on this point that you touched on, yeah. Nationhood. Many Nigerians have said that President Muhammadu Buhari, being the most visible natural leader, the natural leadership of him seems to overshadow even the political leadership of him. And coming to power with the mantra of change, that the first thing he ought to have inspired is this spirit of nationhood, that is, building, reconstructing a national spirit. And they have said that this ought to be majorly a role that the National Orientation Agency ought to have played, so that the Nigerian people will begin to unite by a particular spirit, identifiable, touchable, and seeable, that this is the spirit, the new national consciousness. Your take on this?
Yes. Let me take it a bit further. The issue of foundation, like I said, it's set of shared core values. I've spoken about it 1,001 times. And I've even suggested the section 23 of our constitution, the present constitution, the 1999 constitution as amended. In that section 23, it talks about national ethics. And it gives us, there are 7 fantastic values. It says national ethics shall be discipline, integrity, dignity of labor, social justice, self-reliance, religious tolerance, and patriotism. 7 fantastic values that could well be this set of shared core values. I think that's a start point. Okay? Now, the only one I like to amend slightly is the religious tolerance. I would rather say religious mutual respect. Because religious tolerance creates an impression as if there is one that is superior to the other and is only tolerating the rest. You have it's a fundamental right. Section 38 that talks about freedom of religion, thoughts, and all that, is a verbatim assimilation of Article 18 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and is virtually in every nation's constitution. I believe, I have a faith, but I also believe every other human person has a right to choose his faith. And each one of us must be so determined to even be willing to go to work to safeguard the right of that other person to choose any faith that he wants, without any fear, without any favor, without any let or hindrance. So that is very, very key. Now, another fundamental that should be part of foundation for nationhood is, you mentioned that, is the having a national vision, or what we could call the Nigerian dream, which, we talk of the American dream. We should come to that point too, where the average Nigerian citizen knows that it can be anything is gifted to be if he works hard without having to know anybody anywhere. There should be a vision of a great nation, a modern day nation, a nation that is knowledge-based, technology-driven, offering ample opportunity and equitable opportunity, boundless and limitless, possibilities to a citizen to actualize their potentials and be able to give back in return to make Nigeria itself great. And then Nigeria can become a great nation, become the consolation and the pride of Africa and the black race at large. This is the greatness. This is the manifest destiny our forefathers saw that made them to fight for independence. They call it the manifest destiny then. But we seem to have lost touch with all of that. Because we have not made that deliberate, painstaking effort to craft a nation out of this multinational entity. It doesn't happen on its own. We got to do it.
Fortunately, it is not only Nigerians that are expecting this from us. Even the world, particularly the Africa, the great Nelson Mandela said, the world will not respect Nigeria as much as they should. The world will not respect Africa as much as they do until Nigeria earn it for Africa.
Yeah.
We can keep on going on and on this discourse. But taking into consideration, my last take, taking into consideration the fact that it appears that political expediency and opportunism seems to be dictating the way political parties and even people in government behaves to the detriment of what our ethics should dictate as a nation. For example, we just saw 2 convicted governors on the basis of corruption pardoned, and one of them have immediately picked up a Senate this thing, and I bet you he's going to win, and things of that nature. Are this not part of the democratic licentiousness we are talking about, and the rest of it? Your last tip and your advice to this nation. We're rounding up.
Yes. I think I like to refer to a popular quote by Edwin Lewis Cole, where he said, "Men and nations are great, not by the virtue of their wealth, but by the wealth of their virtues." I think we need to get that straight. We're not going to go anywhere. The character of a nation, the values for which a nation stands, these are the things, even though they look intangible, but these are the core determinants of how far any nation is going to go. And until we address these issues, we will keep going in this vicious cycle, searching for how to move the nation forward. And until leaders themselves are willing to subject themselves to the same rules that they wish to subject the led to, then we are not going anywhere.
Do you agree with Brigadier General Buba Marwa that politicians should undergo narcotic tests?
In fact, not only narcotic tests. I think it was General Basanjo who also said they should do mental and psychiatric tests.
Thank you very much.
So many tests.
Thank you very much. We have been speaking with Major General Henry Ayola, retired. You have heard that. Nigerians, set your eyes very open. Be conscious of that which is necessary. Let us not accept their rights and their money. At the end of the day, we begin to cry when they come on the stage, tormenting us and unable to fulfill the promises that can lead us to our land of glory. So, let us do all that is necessary to filter the deluge of aspirants that we have. If possible, let them go for psychiatric and narcotic tests. This is how we draw the curtain on this first segment of the discourse on nationalism and you. But don't change the channel, as we are returning immediately with the second segment.